All right, so for turning in your projects, you're always going to submit to Schoology what's called a sheet. Because if you send me this Revit file, I can only open it on our special computers in class, and I don't always have access to that. So the sheets are PDFs that I can open on my iPad, my phone, any computer. So it makes it a lot easier. So if you scroll down in your project browser, you're going to find your sheets, and you probably already have one there from when we made our template. So I'm just going to open that one up, whichever one is there. And we're gonna fill in some info. So it says owner. You're gonna put in your name. So I'm gonna do Miss Fly. Project name. We're gonna call this Shed Project. And we're gonna do a couple sheets. But this first one, we're gonna bring in our floor plans. So how we bring them in is over in your project browser. If you click on it, but don't open it all the way, you can drag it in, and it's going to show you the floor plan. So you can see that it's really the floor plan is small, and it's because of those cameras that we moved in on our template are still a little too far out. So I'm going to click delete and delete that, and I'm going to go back to my floor plan, and I'm going to bring these even closer because this is a pretty small project. So the closer they are, the bigger your floor plan will appear on your sheet. So that looks a little bit better. I can go back to my sheet, and I'm going to click level 1 and drag it in. So that's a much better size square there. And maybe I want to move one camera still. This one's still kind of out there. So you don't need them super close, but relatively close so that it doesn't, so we can actually see your building that you designed. There we go, and it says down here level 1. It gives us the scale. So there's different settings that you might end up changing to make things fit on your sheet later on. So like the 1/4 inch to 1 foot, that's the size that we did it on the paper. So I made it a little bit bigger, and even though it kind of overlaps down here, we can see your building and read everything just fine. But just to make it a little bit less sheets you're going to turn in, we're going to keep it at that 1/8 inch, but you can always change the scale when we get into other projects. So there is our level 1 floor plan, and it says level 1. We're also going to grab level 2 so we can see that roof plan. So there's that one. And so this sheet is going to be our floor plans. So we're going to call it floor plans. So that way, whoever's looking at your sheet, or me when I'm looking at them, I know, okay, who this is, what project it is, and what is on this sheet. So there's our floor plan. So we're going to do a couple more sheets here, or one more sheet. So we're going to right click on sheets and do new sheet. We want that B size. And you can see it already copied over your name, Shed Project. This one is going to be our 3D views. So with our 3D view, we are going to want to position your 3D view so it shows off as all the details of your house. So I reorientated mine so that I can see both windows and that door on the outside. And I'm going to move it down so it's nice and centered there. We should be able to just grab your 3D view and drag it in. So right now, wowza. Okay, so again, it's a giant window and our house is pretty small. So we're going to delete that. So to fix that, those lines, if I bring it back, those lines are on our elevation sheet. So if we shrink those in, that should shrink in this box window. So I'm going to open up East, and let's see. Since I'm pretty close on the side over here, there should be a little dot that I can bring those ones in. There we go. So that's a little bit smaller. So I'm going to do East and North, and that'll move the other ones for me. There we go. We'll bring in this side. Now let's see if I bring in 3D view. Much better. Still a little bit big, but that's okay. So there is one way you can bring in a 3D view. We're also going to do a rendering of your shed. So how we do that, we're going to go back to our 3D, and you want it to be exactly what it's going to look like. We're not going to be able to like move our rendering at all. So I've zoomed in a little bit here. And down in this bottom bar is this little teapot, and it says show rendering dialog. So that teapot we're going to click. And for quality, I'm going to choose medium. If you go much higher than that, it can take a really long time to render and make it look realistic. For lighting, I'm going to do exterior sun and artificial. We'll do that. Let's see what that looks like. Sky, few clouds. All right, so we're going to do render, and it's going to render everything that's in my work screen, and it might take a minute here. There we go. That was like 10 seconds for me. And there is what it looks like. So you can see that siding, my wood door. I wonder if I don't have the correct door on there, because that's not that glass door I picked. The windows, you might be able to tell like, oh no, this one has that white on the outside. This one has the wood. I might need to flip them. So you won't be able to do that in this window. This is like a frozen picture. And as like I can zoom out, but that's as much as I can do and see. I can't rotate anything. It's literally a frozen picture of it. But if I'm okay with it, I'm going to save this to my project. And I'm going to call it 3D rendering 1 and hit OK. So now if I go back to my 3D view sheet, I can find that rendering over here in my project browser. There's a little tab that says rendering. There's my 3D rendering 1, and I can put that in there. So you won't be able to really scale it. You can scale it a little bit and it gets bigger if you double click on the box to make it fit in there, but you're not going to be able to crop it or anything. That's why setting up your window with exactly what you want is really important. So I would probably, before I submit this, make sure that my doors and stuff are what I want. When you go back to your 3D view, you might just have to close the render window to flip it. So like I noticed my windows were, one was inside, one was outside. So I can click on my window, click the little arrow. Let's see. Oh, yeah, in that window, I didn't pick the right one. It should. There we go. Now I have the right window. So I'd redo my rendering, and so I'd click little teapot, get my window how I want it, medium, render, wait the 10-ish seconds. And there we go. There is my little shed. So once you're all good with your floor plans on here that show that you have 2 windows, 2 doors, 2 separate rooms, it's 12 by 16, your 3D views, you have 10-foot walls, what you're going to do to turn these in, how you submit these 2 floor plans. You're going to go up to File, and you're going to print them. So instead of a printer in here, you're going to choose PDF, Adobe PDF. And a couple of settings that you're going to do every single time. And I'll show this for a while to help you guys get into practice. But we want Adobe PDF. We want combine multiple views or sheets into a single file. And then our print range, we are going to select our sheets. So we're going to do select and choose both of those sheets. So our floor plan sheet and our 3D view sheet, and hit OK. We're just going to click no because it's going to be a little bit different every time. And it went and switched it to separate files. So make sure you go back and do combine and do a single file, or else you're going to have 2 different PDFs you have to turn into Schoology. This puts them in one document for you. So Adobe PDF, single file. I selected my 2 sheets that I created, and I'm going to hit OK. Oh, okay. Let's do print. So maybe set up PDF, Microsoft Print to PDF. And again, 1 file, your 2 sheets. There we go. So now you need to know where you're saving this to. So if you're going to put it on your desktop or your documents, wherever you want to save this to so that you can submit it to Schoology. So I'm going to call this Shed Project. You can see it, the PDF. I know it's going to my desktop, and I'm going to hit save. So then in Schoology, you will be able to go to our assignment in our week 3 folder and submit the file. And I can help you in class if you don't know how to do that. I can't show you from my teacher side, but I can help you in class on how you find the file and submit to Schoology. And you're going to do it for all of our different Revit things in here. So that is your shed project.